You want to know how you can be richer than Jeff Bezos? Keep watching. Jeffrey Bezos. Time is finite. Money is not, and yet we are far more willing to give away our time than we are our money. Imagine, if you will, your neighbour pops round, knocks on the door and says, "Hey, dude, tomorrow, Saturday, could really do with a hand carrying some sand from front of the house around to the back. You got to spare 4 or 5 hours." And if you didn't have much on that weekend, you'd probably say, "Yes, I'll help you out, mate." Imagine the same scenario, but they knock on the door and they say, "Hey, I'd really like to pay for a labourer to come around to move this sand. Could you give me 100 quid? You're probably going to say, "No, mate, jog on." Point is, though, we can make more money, we can sell stuff, work more. It's not finite. We don't have a pot of money that we have for the rest of our lives, but we do with time. We only have a certain amount of time, and there's no way we can buy any of that back, and yet we value money far more than we do our time. I forget who it was now, but a very famous person once said, imagine you were born and given a car and told that that was it for the rest of your life, you'd never get another car. You'd look after it, you'd maintain it, you'd make sure it was kept in the best condition because you'd never get another one. But none of us do that necessarily with our bodies, and we do only get one of those. I think a lot of us treat our possessions and finances with a much more finite mindset than we do our bodies and our minds and the time we spend with our loved ones. Essentially, when you say yes to something that takes away from time with your loved ones or the things that you want to do, your purpose, then really it's a deduction in your time balance rather than your financial balance. And when you say no, you're sort of making a deposit into there. You're gaining time. So perhaps, certainly in my world, with self-employed people, it might be worth us thinking about what saying yes to work actually takes us away from being able to do, and whether that financial reward actually allows us to do the things that we do. Don't get me wrong, of course, sometimes we need the money to do the things that we want to do, to buy the things that we want to do, or to travel, or whatever it may be. But I think a lot of the time in this capitalist mindset that we have this idea that really we should be saying yes to everything, increasing our bank balances, but every time we say yes to something and increase our bank balance, we're actually saying no to other things and decreasing our time balance, which we will never ever get back. Look at how stunning this is. Oh, wow. So whilst I'm far from focusing on financial rewards, here's a little experiment for you. Have a quick look on your iPhone and see what your screen time's like for the last 7 days. Then multiply that by minimum wage and ask yourself whether you would spend that much money of your own money out your own pocket to scroll social media, because in essence, financially at least, that's how much you're spending to scroll social media. I don't know, it could be anything from 60 quid, maybe up to 120, 200, who knows, a week. Would you genuinely, even at minimum wage, spend that money on a subscription to those social media platforms?
You know what, as is often the case with these videos, as I'm running along or doing whatever I'm doing, I come up with these ideas on the fly, and as I was editing this, I suddenly thought to myself, I better have a quick check. So I went to the settings on my phone, had a look at the screen time for the week leading up to Christmas. Now, if you have a look on the left-hand side on where it says social, in blue, it says 10 hours and 14 minutes. Now, what's worryingly noticeable about this is actually quite a low amount. It says down 26% from the week before. 10 hours and 14 minutes used on social media. Now, if we round that to 10, because adding up time is a bit of a nightmare, 10 hours average a week on social media at the minimum wage, which is £12.21, that's £122 worth of work I would have earned if it was a job. If being on social media was a job, I'd have earned £122 in the week leading up to Christmas using social media. Obviously, if you do that over 4 weeks, that's just shy of £500 a month. Now, as I said before, I'm not measuring it in financial terms, but it's an easy thing to relate. Would we actually give £500 worth of work over instead of spending that time doing stuff that we either want to do, our purpose, the things we enjoy, our hobbies, things that actually have some use to us, or spending time with the family? So I did a bit more digging in terms of how much time the average user uses on social media per day. And it turns out to be just shy of 2 hours. So let's round that up again, because time is a bit difficult, isn't it? So 2 hours a day over a week is obviously 14 hours times £12.21, minimum wage above 21 years old. That's £170 a week. Multiply that by 4, and we're kind of just shy of £700 a month time spent on social media, probably pretty much doing nothing. Everything has a cost. Everything.
You think things like this are free? They're not free, they're robbing you of your time. Might not cost you anything financially, but your time is finite and is way more valuable than your bank balance. And the irony of the fact you're watching this video is not lost on me, because I do the same thing. That's why I want to make these things as valuable as I can for you, but I'm also making it as time efficient as I can by doing all my thinking and making these videos at the minute whilst I'm out and about. I hope you appreciate that, because I'm trying to streamline my time and use it wisely. I very much suggest that you try and do the same. So if you want to be richer than somebody like Jeff Bezos, then be really careful with your time. Rich, for me, is nothing to do with my bank balance, it's to do with how I spend my time. And I know an awful lot of people in the business world who focus on trying to increase that pot of money really outweigh it with the amount of time they spend trying to do so. And we all know that deep down, when people slip off this mortal coil, or they realise they're going to die, the likes of Steve Jobs, etc., a lot of these people in this world never regret ever not closing a deal or making more money or dying with a bigger bank balance. They always without fail regret how they spent their time, and mainly how they spent their time with their loved ones. And that is how you can be richer than someone like Jeff Bezos.